On Shalom TV from the Waldorf Astoria in New York City, I'm Mark Golub.
And I'm Ellie Cohanim. It's our pleasure to welcome you to the Friends of the IDF 30th Anniversary Gala.
Each year, hundreds of people come to this event to show their support for young men like this, the young Israeli soldiers who make up the Israel Defense Forces, and who the slogan is about at the bottom of this beautiful poster. Their job is to look after Israel. Ours is to look after them.
Join us for an intimate peek into the reception as we meet the wonderful people who are here to support the IDF and the soldiers who are with us tonight. Hi, I'm so happy to have with me Captain Barrage Schulberg on Shalom TV at the Friends of the IDF Gala. Captain Schulberg, thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you for inviting me. It's great to be here.
Captain, tell me a little bit about which section in the Army do you serve?
I'm from the Nahal Brigade, one of the 5th brigades we have in the Army. It's an infantry brigade, also similar to the paratroopers. And I'm a company commander. I have 150 soldiers that I'm my own sons.
Wow, so you look incredibly young to me. Can you tell me how old you are?
Yeah, of course, I'm 27 years old.
27 and is a company, wow. So how does that work? How does the Israeli army work in terms of so many young people being in such positions of responsibility? How does that feel?
First of all, we don't have another possibility, as you know. Each boy in Israel, when he arrives to 18 years old, has to do it. It looks different from the outside, but for us it's very natural. All of us are young people. I'm in the army for almost 9 years by now, but when I began I was 18 years old and it looked very frightening to me. Today I don't look at it that way.
Where did you grow up in Israel?
In Jerusalem. In Jerusalem City.
And when you were growing up, was the army your aspiration? Is that something that you wanted to grow up and do?
Yeah, this is the kind of values I was growing up on. My dad was an infantry warrior, and my brother, my older and my younger brother, was an infantry warrior. So it wasn't odd for me to go and serve more than 3 years.
What would you say is the best part of the work that you do?
First of all, to know that I'm guarding my country. It's worth it. And second of all, to see the soldiers become men and adapt, and this is the greatest thing to do. I spent with them 1 year and we trained together, and it really makes a bond between us.
We hear a lot about the bonds that Israeli soldiers have with each other and the service that the Army serves to Israeli society in general in terms of integration of immigrants. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
First of all, I have so many soldiers from so many different places, religious, non-religious. I have many soldiers also that came from the United States, from different countries. They say the army, it's a small mirror for the Israeli community, so it's very natural also. It's very odd in the beginning for a religious person that was, he was educated in a religious way, to see a non-religious person and to sleep with them the whole week in a tent. But everyone, at the end, everyone became one group, and you don't see the differences at the end.
Captain Schulberg, we're here with Shalom TV with a wide audience of American Jews and Americans in general watching us tonight. If there was one message that you could share with our audience, what would that be?
I think the most important message for me is just to say thank you for this whole possibility for me to come over here. It's heartwarming to see the kindness and the thank that you gave us. When I come back to Israel, I will take this and move it on as a strength to my soldiers, because it's it's giving me a lot of strength to see this kindness and all of the people that just want to say us thanks. For me, this is the most important thing.
Captain Barrage Schulberg, I think I do speak about on behalf of the American Jewish community in thanking you for all of your service and everything that you do to defend the state of Israel, and I would say the world Jewish community.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Great
you.
to be here.
At the Friends of the IDF dinner at the Waldorf, I have the great pleasure of standing with Malcolm Hoenlein. You know him well, Executive Chairman of the Conference of Presidents of Major American Jewish Organizations. And Malcolm does some of the most outstanding work on the American Jewish scene today. And here you now are at the FIDF dinner. And look, I know you go everywhere. Sometimes it's your job, but you're here for a different reason. Talk about what it means to you to support the FIDF.
Well, first of all, they are members of the Conference of Presidents, but I'm not here because of that.
That's right.
And I love General Gershon, but I'm not here because of that. And the Falics, with whom I'm very close and love, but I'm not here because of them. I'm really here because I think this is one of the most unique organizations and an opportunity to pay tribute, to show our connection, our support for those who are putting their lives on the line every day for us, not just for the state of Israel, but for the Jewish people. And the fact that this can contribute a little bit to making their lives better, the lone soldiers who courageously go to Israel to serve. There's so many programs, educational programs. So by being here, I can lend my support and identify with it. I'm really honored to be able to do so.
Hi, Captain Ronen Nimni. It's such an honor to have you with us tonight at Shalom TV. Can you just tell us first what service you do in the Israeli Army?
Hi, good evening to all of you. My name is Captain Ronen Nimni, and I'm the Israeli Naval Attaché here in Washington, D.C. now. And I'm about 27 years in the Navy, since 1984, as a navigation officer, as a commanding officer, and all my life basically on board of ships.
And you're here with us tonight at the Friends of the IDF Gala. I just wonder, I see people coming over, shaking your hands and thanking you, and I'm just wondering, how does it feel to be here with us tonight?
I feel it's a great honor to be here. And first of all, I want to thank all of you for all your support to Israel. We are doing our job in Israel because we are living there, and we have to defend our borders. We have to defend our land. But your support to Israel is very important to us to do our mission and to know that we have here of all the Jewish community who support us and give us a good motivation to do our jobs. Thank you for all you're doing here.
There's a book that recently came out that has been wildly popular in the U.S. called Startup Nation. And in Startup Nation, they describe the role of the Army not only as an important function in the military in the defense of Israel, but also as a place where technology and entrepreneurism is bred and really, as a base for that. And I was just wondering, can you tell us a little bit about what role you think the Army plays in Israeli society, broadly speaking?
The Army plays a very major role in Israeli society because every teenager started life when he becomes 18 years old in the Army, and after 3 years, all of them continue to the industry, continue to everywhere in Israel to discover and to continue all the way that we start on my parents or our parents start in 1948. And that's what brings Israel to be a good society, motivation society for a big success.
If you had one thing that you wanted to say to the American Jewish audience and the American public in general who's joining us tonight via Shalom TV, what would you say to them?
I want to tell all of you, thank you very much for what you're doing, for all your support to Israel. It is very, very important for the IDF soldiers. Please continue to support Israel, and we will promise you to keep on our land, on your land. Thank you very much, and have a good evening.
And I would be remiss to say that we thank you so much for all of your service and everything that you do for the entire Jewish people.
Thank you.
I'm standing with one of my favorite people in the world, Dr. Ruth Westheimer. I just want a quick question. What brings you here and what's important? Excuse me.
First of all, you of all people, Shalom TV, you should know that I'm coming to this for the past 100 years.
Yes.
Number one, I was in the Haganah. Number two, I was badly wounded, both legs, before there was a Tzahal. Number three, every year, look at the crowd.
It's amazing.
Look at the commitment.
Yes.
Look at the spirit, and that's what it's all about. Never mind sex. What we need right now is this spirit. And you, Shalom TV, are doing a wonderful job, and I'm calling you.
Can I kiss your cheek?
Okay.
Thank you. Ruth Westheimer.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome one of the finest military orchestras in the world, the Orchestra of the Israeli Defense Forces. Our MC this evening is a Fox News contributor. Please welcome best-selling author and nationally syndicated radio host, Dr. Monica Crowley.
Hi. Thank you so much, and shalom. Once again, I am so incredibly honored to be able to host this remarkable evening. Every year for me, on a personal note, it is truly a labor of love. And I just want to thank all of you for welcoming me so warmly every year. Thank you. This year, it's especially significant to be able to take you behind the scenes and provide you with a glimpse of the dedication, daring, and ingenuity of the Israel Defense Forces in action. So let's get started. Representing the Armed Forces of the United States of America, we are honored to have with us tonight Bronze Star recipients Colonel Michael Gold, Lieutenant Colonel Richard Davis, and Major Charles Jacquillard. True American heroes, and very handsome too. And now to present the colors of the United States of America, more American heroes, here is the 6th Communication Battalion of the United States Marines. And presenting the flag of the great state of Israel, we are especially honored to have the following IDF soldiers with us tonight. Navy Lieutenant Roni Halprin, Captain Bar Schulberg, Sergeant Mahor Blank, First Lieutenant Tammuz Goldman, Staff Sergeant Ken Saban, Staff Sergeant Jacob Smith, and Staff Sergeant Sarah Avira. Ladies and gentlemen, how proud we are to be associated with two great democracies that stand side by side as the bulwarks of Western civilization, allied in the fight against terrorism and tyranny. This past summer, the IDF hosted some 50 United States Marines for joint anti-terror training exercises at its state-of-the-art urban warfare school in the Negev.
I feel like I connect well with the IDF because they're warriors, you know, just like the Marines are, and we share a common bond.
Incredible, our U.S. military. Semper Fi. The Star-Spangled Banner will be sung tonight by Captain Christina Moragian, followed by Hatikva to be sung by Corporal Sapir Breyer.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave? כל עוד בלבב פנימה נפש יהודי הומייה ולפתי מזרח קדימה עין לציון צופיה עוד לא אבדה תקוותנו, התקווה בת שנות 2000 להיות עם חופשי בארצנו, ארץ ציון וירושלים, להיות עם חופשי בארצנו, ארץ ציון וירושלים.
All right, I have the chance now to stand with Ellie and one of the real good guys on the American Jewish scene today, Arthur Stark, who is the chairman emeritus of this extraordinary organization, Friends of the IDF. I first want to say congratulations to you. What you have built in the last few years is extraordinary, and it's not only serving the people of Israel and the state of Israel, you are serving world Jewry, and you ought to hear that and know how much you are appreciated. That's number one, okay?
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate your beautiful words, but the real hard work is done by the soldiers.
You bet.
And that's what we really hear about. And like you say, they're serving not just the people of Israel, they're serving Jews world over, and they're doing it without asking for anything, without requiring anything. They're doing it willingly and with passion, and that's why we need to support them equally with passion and show them that we love them, give them the morale support that they deserve, give them some of the things that they need to help make their lives easier. And in doing so, we build a greater Israeli society and a greater Jewish community in the world over.
Okay. I don't ask this simply. I ask it trying to understand what's in here. There are many things you could have chosen to be involved with. You have put so much of your own effort, time, energy, resources into this organization. Not only is American Jewry watching now, we have many non-Jews as well, Americans all over the country and Canada. I want you to explain, what was it that drew you to the FIDF, to the Friends of the IDF? This is where Arthur Stark has tried to make a significant difference for the Jewish community and really for the world. Why, Arthur?
It's a very pure cause. You know, many people become alienated from causes because they're too left or they're too right. They're too religious or too not religious. This is none of the above. This is the actual kids that are doing the hard work it's visceral. You feel it, you see it and touch it when you go there to see them. The dangerous and difficult work that they do without asking for anything in return. And they really deserve our support. They deserve our support to help their morale. They deserve our support to help make their lives a little easier. And in doing so, like I say, we create a greater Israeli society because they are the backbone of the society. They are the melting pot. And from there come the future leaders of the State of Israel and the future leaders of the Jewish people. And oh, by the way, the big byproduct of what we do is that there are many disenfranchised Jews in America who have become reconnected to Israel by becoming engaged in our cause, because it's a very appealing thing.
Arthur, I remember the first time I went to Israel, I was 15 years old, and I looked up at the Israeli soldiers, these strapping young heroes, and I went back after that as an adult, and the soldiers were just 18-year-old children. Tell me a little bit about what the Friends of IDF does to really enrich and strengthen the lives of Israeli soldiers.
You know, early on when I became involved with Friends of the IDF, I would say we were sort of a proverbially toothpaste and fleece for the soldiers. We would give them basic needs. Occasionally we would be fortunate to have a large donor who would put a gymnasium on a base perhaps. But then when I became involved in it, I realized that it's a tremendous brand and it's a magnetic brand and it's something that can attract a lot of people. But in order to attract a lot of people, we needed product on the shelves. We needed a lot of things to sell. And we developed programs that are educational, programs for wounded, programs that are surrounding religious needs, programs that are surrounding social needs. So we have a wide portfolio and range of ways to help the soldiers individually. You can touch and feel those soldiers that you help. One of our signature programs, the Impact Scholarship Program, is for needy former combat soldiers who are in financial distress, they can't afford to go. We have 3,000 such soldiers currently in university and 2,000 who've already graduated. You can imagine the impact on Israeli society of these thousands of young people being pumped back into the society after they've received the generosity of donors like you see here today, and how they feel. We've had our first instance already of graduates of the program who've gotten out, made enough money to be able to sponsor future donors. So it's really a circle of giving, and it's far extraordinary. You can touch and feel exactly the kids whose lives you've affected. They'll stay in touch with you, and it's something that the attribution is phenomenal. You can really watch where the money goes, you can feel what you've accomplished, and you can see it in the faces and the lives of these young men and women.
Oh, Ellie and I could sit and talk to you forever. I want one last question from you, not about the IDF. You also have extraordinary feeling for the State of Israel itself. If there was one thing you would want Americans in general and American Jews in particular to understand about Israel, which you worry they don't understand, Arthur Stark, what would it be?
The most important thing is to understand that Israel is perhaps the country in its culture and its mores, which is the closest, and in its values, the closest to America of any country in the world. And with all the propaganda that they might see and read, all the falsehoods that are spewed, I would want Americans to go there and see what's going on and see that this country could be the 51st state if it were so inclined. And the fact of the matter is, these people share our values, they share our strategic values around the world, and they're our greatest ally that America has.
Kol tuva hatzlacha to you. You do extraordinary work.
Thank you, as do you.
This evening is wonderful.
As do you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Arthur Stark.
Really exciting to have you. Thank you so much.
Well, for the past 5 years at this time, we have taken a moment to remember Gilad Shalit, as well as all soldiers missing in action. This year, we are thrilled to be able to celebrate Gilad's release. And also to share a greeting that he recorded this weekend for us.
Shalom, my friends. I would like to express my gratitude to the nation of Israel, as well as the Jewish nation, for the support I received while I was held prisoner by the Hamas. The support warmed my heart and helped me overcome a very difficult period. I am delighted to have returned to my country, to my home, and to my family. Thank you very much. I love you all.
That's the best news we've had in a long time. Well, it's somehow ironic that the man who publicly took credit for kidnapping Gilad Shalit, Zuhair al-Qaisi, the militant commander of the Popular Resistance Committee, was killed on Friday. And he was killed on Friday by the IDF forces, though not for that reason. Now, in retaliation, the PRC, the militant Islamic wing that is affiliated with Hamas, launched more than 200 rockets in a period of 5 days. Although you would never know this if you only got your news from the New York Times, my favorite newspaper, or other major news outlets. But those of us who are connected intimately to the State of Israel have had a sleepless weekend worrying about this siege. Had these attacks happened a year ago, the results could have been devastating. But those of you who were here with us last year will recall that we introduced you to the then not yet operational Iron Dome system. Iron Dome is an air defense system that's designed to intercept and destroy short-range missiles, and it is, as we speak, revolutionizing anti-terrorist warfare. I am delighted to report that over the weekend, Iron Dome has enjoyed an astounding 85% success rate. I just enjoy saying that, 85% success rate in intercepting and destroying incoming missiles targeting populated areas. And if you guys want more details about it, we can now go live to an Iron Dome installation located just outside the Israeli city of Ashdod. Now, I want you guys just to keep in mind that there might be a delay because the signal has to go up to the satellite and bounce back down to us. So please be patient with us. And we are very privileged now to be joined by Sergeant Jerome Gertner. He is an Iron Dome interceptor specialist, which is very cool. And Jerome now joins us live. Jerome, welcome. We can all see you here in New York. And I hope you can hear that because you just got a huge round of applause. And we all know that it's very early in the morning for you. So we want to thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, you know, a short year ago, the Iron Dome was just science fiction, and we were talking about it here in this room in that context, but now it's been put in operation, and now it's proven military fact. So we have to ask you, how did it feel when the first barrage of rockets started flying out of Gaza?
Well, first of all, it's terrifying, and as it should be, because these rockets are meant to kill people. But I do know that me and my unit are the only people in the entire world who could give answer to something incredibly hectic. Our first interception, the first interception in the entire world, was a mere 11 months ago. And this weekend set a completely new standard. They have been learning their craft, they have been improving their weaponry. The rockets we're dealing with are much more dangerous, much more long range, and in general could do a lot more damage.
Jerome, can you tell us?
On the other hand, we have studied as...
Go ahead, Jerome.
On the other hand, we have studied as well. We have improved our craft from every missed rocket, which I'm glad to say were not many. And from we have been learning and improving. And I can say completely full-heartedly that next time they choose to shoot us, we will be ready.
Woo! I hope you can hear that too, Jerome. You got another huge round of applause for that. So tell us what it's like when you're in what you guys call the box, and the alarm goes off indicating that hostile fire is coming in.
Well, first of all, the rocket time in the air is not that you don't have too much time to deal with it. And it is definitely a decision that you need to make very quick, and it's and you do know what lays in the balance. You need to find out what rocket it is, how do you intercept it, what to do with it, and if we're intercepting it at all. I mean, first of all, you know what lies in the balance. You know that within that 1 minute, you need to choose if to intercept that rocket, and if you make the wrong choice, you know the concussions of that action. But what I love about it is when you do make the right choice, you get to see a reward and you get to see who you save. And I could not be more proud to serve in this unit.
More big applause for you, Jerome. I know that you can't tell us much about what you guys are doing, but can you just confirm, because the audience, we can see an installation behind you. Is that an actual Iron Dome installation?
This is actually the launcher that the rockets come out of.
Wow, very cool. I had to ask him about that. All right, Jerome, so some estimate that about 200 rockets were launched at Israel over the past weekend. Did you personally intercept any of those?
I've personally intercepted 4 rockets.
Woo! Woohoo! Woo!
What I love as I said before, what I love most about this job, what I love most about being in this unit, is the fact that you could see your results instantaneously. I cannot tell you about all the rockets. Some of it, after all, is confidential. But I can personally say that I have intercepted rockets that were going to hit strategic locations, as in army bases and civilian locations, as big cities in Israel. And that is what I genuinely love about being in this unit.
It's so fantastic. You guys are doing incredible work. And you know, Jerome, a little bird told me that in your spare time you have a hobby in magic, that you're a magician. And I have to just add that making Hamas rockets disappear is a pretty neat trick. So we approve of that trick. Thank you.
The best one I have.
Thank you, and the most important one, Jerome. Sergeant, thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you.
Stay safe. Thank you, Sergeant. Aren't these guys the best?
I am standing with one of my favorite people in the world who has done an extraordinary good work for the state of Israel, Rabbi Feo Eckstein. And your organization, I want to make sure I get the formal name.
It's International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, and in Israel it's called HaKeren Lididut.
Okay. Yehiel, no one has understood more the need for American Jewry to connect to Israeli Jewry, and indeed what you have done is spread that to not only the Jewish world, but to the Christian world that has embraced the state of Israel. You and I have met on Shalom TV before. I don't need the whole story, but even tonight, you're here at the IDF dinner, and your organization always makes a pledge to support this organization. The first question, why? Why does your organization and you personally, why does the FIDF mean so much to you?
The fellowship raises now, primarily from Christians, roughly $120 million. And we give away most of it this year, $85 million. And one of the key programs that we fund and support, because our donors want to, and I personally obviously do too, is the Friends of the IDF. And so we're making an announcement tonight of $9.25 million as one of the 200 projects that the fellowship funds.
Yasha Koach, Mazal Tov. But now tell me why. Because you could be making that donation to other Jewish groups. You choose this one. Yehiel, why?
The Israel Defense Forces are the bottom line. It's where the rubber hits the road. We do fund hundreds of other organizations, and our focus is on alleviating poverty in Israel for Jews and Arabs, actually, and for Jews in the former Soviet Union, and security for Jewish institutions around the world. But there's nothing that's greater mitzvah than helping those who are preserving our state, our community, and safeguarding the homeland. And any way that we and I can salute them and acknowledge it and assist them for what they are giving up, sometimes even their lives, but everything that they are doing for Israel, it's a privilege, it's a responsibility. You take a look around here, it's not like you see everyone with a yarmulke. It's a way to identify Jewishly in a meaningful way. And so I am privileged to be a part of this.
One more question for you. There have been people who have said we are living in what may be the single best time ever in the history of Jewish-Christian relations. As you experience it, Bo, you've been with this now, Yehiel, how many years?
I've been toiling in this field for 35 years.
Okay. You've seen an arc as well. Where would you define Jewish-Christian relations today?
Well, the 1960s was the height of Christian-Jewish relations in terms of what the Christian community was then. Today, I'd like to believe heavily because of the 35 years of my work, against the grain, I might say. Today, Christians, Bible-believing Christians, evangelical Christians are Israel's best friends and strategic ally. What you see in the New York Times when it talks about the lobby of American Jews and evangelical Christians, that phrase didn't come about by itself. It came about because a lot of good people put in a lot of effort over the 35 years to bring about this situation, and today we can be very grateful.
We're grateful to you for all the work you've done.
And thank you, Shalom TV.
Thank you,
Mark.
Yehiel Eckstein.
All right, at this time, we were hoping to speak with the Prime Minister, as is our custom every year, here at the FIDF National Dinner. And as we all know, this weekend, when Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was scheduled to sit with our own Bnei Shabtai, there was major activity in the south of Israel. Even without that, this has been an exceptionally busy few weeks for the Prime Minister. He was here meeting with President Obama at the White House, and then he has been concerned with matters of national security at home. However, we are grateful that the Prime Minister was able to send us some brief remarks.
Greetings to all of you friends of the IDF, to Benny Shabtai, the dinner chairman, to General Yitzhak Jerry Gershon, the national director for all the fine work you're doing, to Nily Falic, the indefatigable national chairwoman who just lost her husband, Feo. Feo is a great Zionist, like the whole Falic family. We all love them very much, as we love and appreciate you and your entire family. I want to say and bring a special note of thanks and recognition to Israel's Chief of Staff, General Benny Gantz. Benny has been also a man who devoted his life and devotes his life to the security of the State of Israel. He knows from personal experience what it was like not to have the State of Israel. He knows from the story of his parents what it was like when we were, the Jewish people, like a wind-tossed leaf that had no defense and no ability to protect ourselves. With the establishment of Zionism, the Jewish state finally have a capacity to resist the attacks on them. And this difference is crystallized in the IDF and in Israel's security agencies. This is one difference. In many ways, it's the biggest difference. And it's the one that makes all the other differences possible. The Israeli army is the foundation of our existence. It's the guarantor of our future. I know that all of you understand that, because that's why you're the friends of the IDF, because you are contributing in your own way to assuring the Jewish future. I want to thank you for those contributions. I want to thank you for your support. I want to thank you for standing behind the IDF. Thank you very much.
Right now, it is such a delight and honor for me to introduce the man who has put this event on the global map. In his first 14 years as dinner chairman, he has helped raise more than $100 million for the soldiers of Israel. As we love to say, he is the greatest friend an IDF soldier could ever have. Please welcome the one and only Benny Shabtai.
Thank you very much.
Knock him down.
Thank you. Thank you, Monica, for those kind words and introduction. Israel has often been described as a tiny country in a tough neighborhood. But as we all have just seen, that neighborhood has gotten even more dangerous. The responsibility of protecting the citizens of Israel rests upon soldiers of our next guest. In February of 2011, Benny Gantz was appointed as the 20th Chief of the General Staff. He had been scheduled to be here tonight as our keynote speaker, but as everyone understands, events have kept him in Israel. However, he is kind enough to join us live by the satellite from Ashdod. Please welcome our good friend, General Benny Gantz. Good morning, and thank you for joining us so early in the morning.
Shalom, and good evening, everybody. I'm very pleased to be with you.
Well, General Gantz, reportedly this escalation of missile fire is said to be in the retaliation to the IDF having killed Zohar Al-Kwasi, the militant commander of the PRC. Are you at liberty to give us any insight into this operation?
Well, Benny, once again, good evening. Before I answer it, let me just say that I'm very sorry for not being able to be with you over there. This should have been a very nice trip and very important one. And obviously, I decided to stay here due to the escalation that we went through. However, I do have, as you know, my representative over there, some 29 heroes sitting around those tables somewhere there, and I'm sure that they're representing me in the IDF. Anyhow, in Israel, we had to operate against this Casey guy. This is not a general director of none of any organization. He is the head of a terrorist group that have committed terrorist activities in Sinai along the Eilat and Sinai border about a year ago, and they were about to conduct another one. We realized that we should act against this group. And indeed we did so, and as a result, obviously, they started to shoot fire at civilians, but I think that we did right, and I think that we will do it in the future if needed as well.
We are not sure what is the current situation in the south is. Can you give us an assessment of what is going on?
Well, right now it's fairly quiet, I'm pleased to say. We had an event later on, earlier tonight, in the town of Netivot. This will not go easy for anyone, and if fire will continue, we will retaliate as we did before, but so far it's fairly quiet. And as we speak, we are still dealing with several activities, but by and large, everything is safe, everything is well. You have seen here Doron, here, this genius guy, among others. By the way, it's very difficult for me because they speak such a fluent English every time, and I have to deal with those guys trying to speak to you. I would say it's not fair in a way.
You speak very well.
Anyhow, I have one correction to say to what Doron have said. Yes, it is quite frightening for people who see missiles coming to them. But if you look at it from the Gaza point of view, I think that those terrorist groups are very much worried because they know now that they shoot missiles, those missiles find our Iron Dome, and they know exactly what will happen to them later on. And indeed, we have succeeded to hunt down 22 terrorists during those 3 days. And the fact that the Iron Dome is defending our civilians, that gives us the flexibility to use our offensive forces, which are very important to hit the terrorists in Gaza, and we will continue if needed. So this balance between defensive capabilities and offensive capabilities are very important for us.
The Iron Dome system has been extremely successful, not only at intercepting incoming missiles, but also in allowing those that were on the path to unpopulated areas to land harmlessly. What role did it play in Israel's defenses?
Well, as I've said before, and as Doron have mentioned, I think that the Iron Dome and the active defense systems that we have now, it's a serious and historical military change. It hasn't been done before, and it is being done so for the last year. I do think that as important as the defensive system are the offensive operations that we have, but as I said, the combination between defensive systems and offensive capabilities are the most important stuff.
Well, is there anything else that you would like to share with us, General Gantz?
I would like to say that those examples, among the others, and the troops that are here right now, and the troops that are in front of Gaza, maybe in Lebanon, Judea, and Samaria, wherever they are, those who we know about, those who I cannot talk about, we are operating all over the area. I think that we are doing it on behalf of the states of Israel, but as well on behalf of the Jewish people all over the world. Israel is the secure place for the entire Jewish people, and we are very proud to do it.
Very nice. Anything else?
Now, yes, please, let me just say thank you.
The floor is yours.
And first and foremost to you, Benny. Benny, 15 years of operation that you are doing there in New York. I've seen you several times. I know your operations all over the years. So thank you very much, Benny, for whatever you do all those years, and good luck in the future as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you, General Gantz.
And I would like to add two more thanks. First of all, to my friend Jerry. I'm sorry I couldn't make it myself. I know how well you're conducting your business over there for the last several years, and thank you very much. Also to you, Nily. I'm sorry for the loss of FEMA, but I'm confident that you will be back on your feet and continue with these very important activities that you are doing along the year and along those years as well.
Beautiful.
And just before, thank you very much. And seriously, and now before I leave, I want to take this very important opportunity to thank you very much for not just the donation, but really the contribution, but more than it, to your partnership with us, the IDF, along those years, in all those different activities, in all those missions that keep coming and visiting us and being with us. I think that this is very important. I don't have the right words to describe how important it is for us here to know that we are not alone, that we are sharing the same, I would say, national mission of the Jewish people. And your involvement and your support is very dear for us. And we'd like to say thank you for this operation. Thank you for those contributions on behalf of myself, and more important, on behalf of my soldiers wherever they are. So thank you very much, and we'd like you to enjoy the rest of the evening, and hopefully next year I'll see you.
It's my honor to be here with Mr. Elias Kalimian, the founder and chairman of the Iranian American Jewish Federation of New York. Mr. Kalimian, thank you so much for joining us this evening.
You're welcome. Shalom, everyone. And it is my pleasure to do all the things that I can do for Israel And the best project that I'm building at this time is an apartment house for lone soldiers with 180 beds.
As an immigrant to the United States, what are your hopes in terms of your children and grandchildren and their continued support of Israel?
I believe the pattern that I have started will continue with my children, and they are all supportive of Israel. And I believe that they will continue to do what I am doing now.
Mr. Kalimian, thank you again. As I said, it's an honor to have you with us tonight, and we look forward to further work with the Iranian American Jewish community.
My pleasure. Shalom all.
My dear Benny.
Beautiful. As we just heard, the brave young warriors of Maglan endure constant training, sleepless nights, and extreme conditions to complete their mission. Silently and without complaint, they carry their heavy loads across enemy terrain. The price they pay is steep, devoting years of their lives because they understand that the survival of the state of Israel rests in their hands. But never is the price steeper than when it includes the precious life of a young warrior such as Yonatan Hadassi. To pay tribute to this fallen soldier of Israel, we are privileged to have with us his mother, Mir Hadassi.
Good evening, Erev Tov. My story begins when my family and I converted to Judaism and immigrated to Israel from Holland. From the very first moment that I saw Israel, I fell in love with it. I entered the army and was sent to the north of Israel. It was the first Lebanon War, and we sustained heavy rocket fire. During this time of crisis, I came to admire the people of Israel, and I decided to become a citizen, relinquishing my Dutch citizenship and willingly tying my fate to that of the State of Israel. While I was in the army, I met Yossi, my future husband. After the army, we went to live in Kibbutz Mechavia. It was there that our oldest son, Yonatan, was born. Yonatan grew up surrounded by love, happy and carefree. He played, rode far afield on his bicycle, and spent summer nights under the stars with his friends. My Yonatan could get into mischief, but he was also gentle and modest, a born leader with a winning smile. Like most proud kibbutzniks, Yonatan loved the land of Israel and wanted to do his part to contribute in a significant way. In short, he was the perfect candidate for an elite IDF unit like Maglan. As you saw earlier tonight, Maglan soldiers often operate behind enemy lines under the most difficult conditions. Although Yonatan never spoke about what he was doing or the dangers that he and his unit faced, it was clear to Yossi and me that he was a key figure in his team and in his unit. Early on, Yonatan was decorated for excellence. At the ceremony, his commander cited Yonatan's determination and courage in the ongoing fight against the terror organizations that are bent on destroying Israel. Yet, whenever Yonatan would come home on leave, he was the same charming, light-hearted Yonatan that we knew and loved, sweeping his little sister Eden high up in the air, hugging and kissing me and his sister Shalom, talking with his father about everything under the sun. When he had to return to the base, he would come into our room and jump into our bed for a farewell kiss, just as he had done when he was a little boy, coming in on the weekends to snuggle under the covers. As I kissed my big soldier goodbye, I could still smell that sweet smell of childhood, of innocence, of spring fields covered in orange flowers. In July 2006, 2 IDF soldiers were kidnapped by Hezbollah, an episode that triggered the Second Lebanon War. Once again, heavy rocket fire rained upon Israel. This time, some of the rockets hit as far south as Haifa. Jonathan's unit's mission was to cross undetected into Lebanon, find the rocket launchers, and silence them. I talked with Jonathan on the evening before he set out to battle. I asked him all the usual silly questions that a mother asks. Had he slept? Had he eaten something? As always, he told me that I shouldn't worry. Everything was fine. I tried not to show how concerned I was. In parting, I told him that I loved him a lot. Okay, he answered. What okay? I yelled. Are you embarrassed to tell your mother that you love her in front of all your army friends? Jonathan laughed and said, I love you too, Ima. Little did I know that these would be the last words that I would ever hear him say, or that it would be the last time his laughter would ring in my ears. Later that night, Jonathan and his team entered Lebanon. Soon they found an extensive network of well-disguised and fortified Hezbollah bunkers. The Maglan force engaged the enemy. Jonathan was the first to be hit. He was killed on the spot. His friend Yotam Gilboa, the unit medic, ran to his side in an heroic attempt to save his life. He too was struck down and killed. It is impossible to explain in words what happens to a mother when she receives the most terrible of news. The ground was literally pulled out from under my feet. Then, as I watched my beloved son being buried, I had to confront the reality that I would never see him again. I'm sorry. Each day, I faced anew the challenge of getting up and of living life with the ever-present sorrow that comes with missing a part of oneself. Today, when I look at our beloved country and what it faces, I worry. I worry about my lovely daughters and about the sacrifices that they and all our young men and women must make to ensure Israel's continued existence. I would like to say to all the soldiers and commanders who are here tonight that we do not take your service for granted. You, who have chosen to wear the uniform of the IDF, are deserving of our highest respect, our deepest esteem, and our heartfelt gratitude. We are blessed with an amazing country, and you are the very best part. It's been 6 years since Jonathan was killed. But the joy that he gave us, the love that filled our hearts and our lives, is as bright today as it was the day he died. He will always live in my heart. Thank you.
Will you please remain standing for a moment of silence as we remember Yonatan Hadassi, Zichrono Livracha, and all the Maglan warriors who gave their lives defending the state of Israel, as well as all the soldiers we have lost this past year.
זה הקיץ האחרון שלי איתכם, עם הגשם הראשון אני אעלם, דמעותיי יזרמו במורד הרחובות, כמו עלה נושבת תקוות רחוקות. אני איש של חורף בין אלפי אנשי ים, אך בחורף הזה כבר לא אהיה קיים. לאט לאט השכבות נמסות, כמו רוצים לא רוצים ותקוות רחוקות. אז תזכרו שהבטחתם לא לבכות, כי השמיים גדולים והדמעות קטנות. תעצמו את העיניים כל גשם ראשון ותחשבו עליי. אז תזכרו שהבטחתם לא לבכות, כי השמיים גדולים והדמעות קטנות. תעצמו את העיניים כל גשם ראשון ותחשבו זה הקיץ האחרון שלי איתכם, עם הגשם הראשון אני אעלם.
Hi, I'm so pleased to be here with Nily Falic, the National Chair of the Friends of the IDF. Nily, tell us, I know the IDF means so much to you. What is the thing that moves your heart the most?
Well, I feel that we are really the extended family of our soldiers of the IDF, brave and dear soldiers, and they are absolutely the present and the future guardians of the Jewish people, not only of the state of Israel. We love them, we appreciate them, and we are behind them all the way.
Nily, you sound like you're from Israel originally, am I right? And you're living here in the U.S. now.
Yes.
What do you think we can do to help support the soldiers of Israel? We as Americans, what can we do?
Well, as Americans, we, the Friends of the IDF, take care of the well-being of the soldiers. We build clubs and we are on the bases. We are in educational programs and everything that they need. With lone soldiers, we have many programs that we support, and this really boosts their morale and lets them know that they are not alone, that the Jewish people are behind them.
Nily, I noticed that when you support the Friends of IDF, there's a lot of different ways that you can give, but there's a lot of information about how the soldiers will write letters to you and you can meet the soldiers. Tell me a little bit about the personal connection that you get in supporting the Friends of IDF.
Well, we have within our programs, the soldiers do correspond with their supporters, with their adoptees. We have a program like Impact that sends them to 4 years of college education, any university that they are eligible for, and there is a complete personal connection between the soldiers and the families that adopt them and support them.
Nily, I just want to thank you so much. I'm sure that the work that you do has personal meaning to you. Shalom TV has an audience of American Jews and Americans all across the country. If there's one thing you could say to them about supporting Israel, what would you say?
Please join us to support the Friends of the IDF. We appreciate every support that we could have. You bring a smile to the soldiers who carry the heavy burden on the soldiers. You can call our offices, Friends of the IDF, in New York and in other big cities in the country. We have many regions. We are active. Please join with activities and with support. Thank you.
Am Yisrael Chai.
Nily Falic, National Chair of the Friends of the IDF at the annual IDF Gala at the Waldorf Astoria. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, we want to take you now live via satellite to a second location in Israel. We told you it's going to be a very busy night here, and we're not going to let you down on that score. What you are going to be looking at here, do we have the satellite? There we go. What you're looking at appears to be an average Arab village on a quiet night. But I want you to take a good close look at the nearby hill. It's hard to see, right? Because it's dark. Well, let's show you what it looked like earlier today. You've got trees, right? Bushes, rocks, pretty hillside overlooking the village. Not quite. This is not as it appears. This is Baf Lahish. It looks like your typical Arab village, but it is in fact a military training ground for urban combat. On that hillside right there, right now, is a team of 4 men from the elite commando unit Muglan. If you can't see them, well, that's kind of the idea. Muglan's specialty is covert operations deep in enemy territory. And we are now back live, and joining us is the commander of Muglan. Obviously, we can't show his face or even use his name, so that makes it a little dicey, but I'll ask you, Commander, what should we be calling you, sir?
Good evening. Well, here in Israel, we usually use the first letter in the alphabet, which in my case is Aleph.
Okay, Aleph. I'm going with that. Aleph, we know that it's 3 o'clock in the morning in Israel, so we want to thank you and your men for getting up so early with us today.
Well, you're most welcome, but to be frank, these are more or less the hours that we usually operate in.
We're not surprised, and I want you to know if you couldn't hear that, you got a big laugh here in New York, and we so appreciate your service, even in the dead of night. Tell us, please, Commander, about the training exercise that we're going to be witnessing here tonight.
Okay, well, I'm sure the audience in New York will probably understand that I cannot reveal all of Muglan techniques. And as an army, I think that all of you will agree with me that we should save a few tricks up our sleeve. What I could tell you is that the most important asset that we have in this unit are the men. All of them are volunteers, great guys that choose probably the most difficult training process. To be a Muglanist means to be one of the best. It means to be very tough, not only physically, but also mentally. I would like you to meet one of these volunteers, one of these special guys. His name is Dave, and I hope you'll recognize him because he's behind some camouflage. So we're going to you, Dave.
Monica, can you hear me?
I got you loud and clear, Dave. Hi.
Hi, how you doing?
Well, I'm doing great. The audience here in New York is doing great.
Great. I'm glad it's going well back in my old town.
Your old town? What do you mean by that? Are you from New York?
I'm actually from Long Island.
Long Island! Woo! You know, I thought I detected a trace of a New York accent there with you, Dave, and you just got a huge round of applause. I'm noticing you're surrounded by some handsome gentlemen. Looks like it's pretty crowded in there. I got him blushing.
Yeah, you could say that. It's definitely an up-close and personal situation. Basically, what we have here is 4 guys and cameramen in a space big enough for maybe 2 lying down.
Looks pretty tight.
Yeah, it is pretty tight. In the summer, it gets pretty hot in here. In the winter, it's pretty cold, although we're pretty close together. As you imagine, we can't exactly excuse ourselves to use the facilities. Sorry about the visual. And as you can see, it's definitely up close and personal in here.
We do see that. How much time do you guys spend like this?
Well, that depends on the type of mission. If we're providing surveillance and giving real-time intelligence, we can be in here for a pretty long time. But if it's an ambush position where we're either locating or destroying targets, or how should I say it, collecting them, it can be significantly less.
You know, I think it's tough for an American audience to kind of get our arms around what you're describing here. And I have no idea what this hill is supposed to look like. So to me, it seems pretty realistic. But Dave, let's say that I lived here and I walked by this hill every single day. Wouldn't I notice a difference? Wouldn't I see something that was a little off that might kind of raise a red flag that you guys are there?
It's definitely a fair point. And I have to say, the first time that I saw one of these hides demonstrated, I was shocked. Clearly, I can't get into the details or show any examples, but what I can tell you is that our enemies have no idea the things that we can disguise ourselves as. The standard that we have to hold ourselves to, as you said, is that someone who walks by this area every day of their life wouldn't be able to tell the difference. As we put it, that it looks more real than what was here before. Actually, during training, once, the way it works is we make a hide, and then the instructors come looking for us. One of these instructors actually fell straight into the hide, so sometimes they do look pretty realistic.
Guys, it sounds so incredible to me, and we can all tell how good you guys are. Can you give us a little bit of background about how you train for this kind of mission?
Sure, I'll do it in the context of the mission, as you said. We tend to use helicopters to get behind enemy lines, and as you can imagine, we can't just land them right next to our target. So there's usually a significant walk involved. We do have a lot of equipment, so we train carrying 70% of our body weights on our back. We learn to navigate in the middle of the night, build one of these hides like the one you see here, and be undercover before the sun comes up. We train meticulously for all of our missions, but as you can imagine, things don't always go as we plan. So one of the biggest skills that we learn in our training is how to think on the fly, how to use whatever resources we have to solve problems, how to survive, whether it be with little food or my personal favorite, no sleep.
I think a lot of us in this room can relate to that, at least to some extent, Dave. So right now in this training exercise, you have the simulated Arab village under surveillance, and we were wondering if we could take a quick look at that.
Sure, I'll set that right up for you. Can you see?
Yes.
Great.
So when you are in this mission, Dave, can you tell us what your task is?
Well, that depends. If we're providing surveillance for a ground force that's attacking on the ground, our job is to make sure that there's no surprises. In a wartime scenario, we also are the guys who check to make sure that there are no civilians around for obvious reasons. In an exercise like this, our job is to make sure that any trick that our commander has up his sleeve, that the guys on the ground don't find out the hard way. That is before he gives the order for us to attack.
Speaking of your commander, I know Commander Aleph is still with us. Do you have anything to add, sir?
Yeah, maybe we could see a demonstration. In Hebrew we say, Tchilat Atkafa. Here we could see our soldiers coming close to the urban area. This is called the sneak attack. And in this point, they're still very quiet. And in a few seconds, you'll see them start to fire. Okay, here it goes. Now they're very close to the urban area. And here they attack a building which we have intelligence of, and we know that there is enemy that we want to overcome. Maybe from there, from New York, it looks pretty simple, but this technique is very complex, and what you see here is a result of many, many hours of training. Here they're coming close. Let's hear the soldiers. Okay, they're going to use a hand grenade right before they go inside, after they see that there is enemy in the building, the hand grenades helps him and it makes the mission much more easy. From there they come, overcome the enemy, and they recognize that there is an underground tunnel inside the building. We found underground tunnels like that also in the Second Lebanon War and also in Oferet Yitzukah. Here you could see maybe a small glimpse of the technique that we developed to conquer those underground tunnels. It happens very fast, and I'm saying again, maybe it looks pretty simple, but again, it's simple because they trained for many, many hours, and here they're ready to overcome the enemy inside the tunnel. They go ahead, also with light and a lot of fire ahead, and in that way, they will overcome any enemy that will wait inside the tunnel.
Very impressive. And you know, watching that, sir, it was over so quickly that the enemy didn't even know what hit it, which is the point. Can you tell us how this is translated into actual combat situations?
Well, I think that I will leave for your imagination. What I could say in that in the Second Lebanon War, our unit was called the Rocket Hunters. Our mission was to find well-hidden targets behind enemy lines.
Well, I know that with everything that's been going on in Israel this past week, I suspect that you guys will be kept very busy. And we want to wish you well, of course, and to stay safe. I can tell by the shadow on your side that I think Dave has come along and he's now standing next to you. There he is. Dave, we have somebody in our audience who would like to say hello to you tonight.
Hi, Dave. Guess who?
Hi, Mom. How you doing?
And there she is.
Obviously, we thought it was very interesting watching the exercise that we just saw. And Daddy and I are very happy to see that you get along well with the other boys.
It's always been a problem.
And needless to say, we miss you. We wish you well. We hope you come back home safe. And one more thing. Bubby's birthday is Friday.
Got it.
Love you very much. Thank you for
I love you
sharing.
too.
Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Dave. That was a wonderful moment. Thanks, guys. And Dave, Commander, we all second Dave's mom's sentiments. Please be safe, and thank you for all that you do to keep the state of Israel secure from terrorists and hostile neighbors. God bless you both, and God bless you all. Thanks, guys.
And that's Shalom TV's coverage of this year's FIDF Gala from the Waldorf here in New York City. Well, what was it like for you, Ellie?
Oh, I loved it. I loved meeting soldiers. I loved meeting the supporters, all the men and women who are out here to support Israel and the soldiers. It was really a beautiful evening.
It really was, and it is touching. First of all, to talk to them, as Ellie says. And second, there is something very moving and powerful to see so much of American Jewry come out to support the young men and women in the IDF, here supported by the Friends of the IDF. We hope you enjoyed our coverage. As always, please be in touch with Ellie and me with any thoughts or comments you may have. We look forward to hearing from you. Until the next time from the Waldorf, for Sloan Copeland, Ellie Cohanim, I'm Mark Golub. Be well, my friends.